significant victory and being recognised on the paper as having had that. And I hear that John Dowson said it was the most significant decision in 200 years of history.
Yeah, he did. The biggest scheme amendment in 200 years was the line he used, which of course isn't quite accurate because we didn't have schemes 200 years ago. But that aside, but no doubt, and certainly what we're proposing is, I think, probably more ambitious than many of us even hoped that it would be. In many ways, it's an ambitious project. But I'm actually much happier with it than I thought it would be, because what it does offers much more high density than we probably even then we're talking about it a few months ago, when we're up to 8 and 9 stories, but only if you meet certain standards. Yeah, but it's good debate, and you've got people like John Dowson and others who aren't. We're not going to agree, and that's actually okay. So on the East End, I actually was glad he was there to. I think it's actually important you have an opposition who's going to scrutinise. I actually think there's value in that. As long
they don't have the numbers.
well, that's it. And as long as there's not just stalling and people in indecision and nothing happening. So John, he did move to defer it. And that's fair enough, and he got voted down. He moved some amendments to bring down heights, and they got voted down. And that's an important debate for us to have, because I don't want us going and doing that just people not really knowing what they're doing. This is a big decision. It is a big decision for the Fruit City, and it is going to dramatically change that area. And I guess I feel like we need to be accountable for that and really sure that we're doing the right thing. I am, and I don't want my council not to get cold feet when the first development application arrives as a result of the scheme amendment. Look, we've still got to go through council on Wednesday, get signed off by the minister early in the new year, and then, I guess, assuming the global financial crisis doesn't come back Mark II and that there is money around, we'll see some real development there. I know that these EG property funds and others are keen to go. It's been a year in the job, and that's been the main project. Anyway, that's the project that I got elected on, and if I can deliver on that in the first year, that'd be nice.
It's a year.
It's a bit over a year now, yeah. So it's a year in October. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, that is. It's hard for the person in the street to see that as an achievement, but it is.
Yeah.
And hopefully you'll see something within the 4-year period actually on the ground. But it's going to be hard to get much.
The inner East End is a whole series of separate projects which we're working on as well, which we've just about to initiate a series of scheme amendments around those sites. So the Westgate Mall site, the coal site, the coke and gas site, all those are currently zoned somewhere between 2 and 5 stories, is what the scheme allows. It was 2 and 4 with a 5th setback. And we're looking at, again, upscaling all of those to encourage redevelopment of those sites. We're going to do that site by site, because every site in that case is different. We've got a strategic city centre sites working group who have just come up with some recommendations, and also looking at some interesting different proposals. EG Property came to us with a proposal for the wool stores. Very ambitious, 18 stories. Architecturally stunning. I guess the real sense though was that they would never be able to afford to build it. It was very, very thin, tall spires, and very, very interesting. But I guess that conversation, at least, we've got interesting architecture planned, even if it's probably a bit unrealistic. And then Myers as well. So Myers is looking really good. We actually offered them extra height on that site, but they probably only need 1 extra story.
They're not moving out. They basically.
No, it looks. They haven't signed on the dotted line yet, but they've got new plans drawn up. 3 stories. It'll be the new Myers, and. But at the ground level, we could have some specialty shops facing out into the street.
Street frontage.
Yep. And then some offices on the top, and a supermarket down below, actually, a separate supermarket. And so that's really good. Totally changing the facades and opening it up, and looks fantastic. Yeah. So if we can get that signed off by might need some certainty by June, July next year, so they can get underway. Yeah, so there's a lot happening in that economic kind of realm, which I think is which is exciting to get. You're starting to feel that momentum happening, and people like Myers are interested because they know there's going to be 3,000 people moving down the road, and they start to realise themselves that if they felt like the city was in, I think, perpetual decline, they would go. Why would you stay? But when they have a bit of a sense themselves, there is going to be a greater pull population which they could capture by staying. So I think they all start to feed off each other, and then once other groups know that Myra's staying, and they think, oh, well, if Myra's staying, then we need to be here as well, and you start to see how you get the more virtuous cycle rather than the slow spiral of decline that we're in before. A lot of this is interesting about setting up the right foundations, so that things can happen.
Yeah, that is. What are the other foundations then?
So I think in addition to sort of, what have we got? We've got, I think the economic things are starting to flow, and I guess in addition to the more people and more is the more office space and more jobs. The other announcement which we expect in the next few weeks is that we will get a new government department moving down to Fremantle, which is another key project that we put a lot of work into and a detailed submission, and the whispering is that that's what's going to happen. So, and they are likely to probably end up, we hope, in the Point Street development that we own.
You can very quickly start building there.
Yep. In fact, there's already really a pre-approval on that site in terms of built form. We just need some detailed plans, and that for them to be ticked off.
Yeah, I think you should be looking at things that could be finished in the 4-year period. That's looking like one. Yeah,
that's right. It is actually. In fact, we would expect, so the expressions of interest for actually building that have been finished, have closed. We've got 5 really good submissions in. I've seen those. So I mean, if you have, you're right, if you have that project underway, some of the EG projects underway shortly, and I think hopefully a few others as well, then you'll start to see a bit of sense of transformation of the city.
Looking back over, you've retired in 10 years' time, what are the other foundations that you've laid that have borne fruit in that period?
One of the ones which I think, and also I think will yield results sooner, is actually trying to create a city where a culture in the city in which we say yes to things and take more risks. And in terms of our public spaces and how we imagine those, having unconventional but really fun spaces. And we want that to be the Fremantle approach to public space, where people feel comfortable in public spaces. They play games, they play ping pong, they read books, they surf the net, they hang out. And I think if I can start to really widen out the places people hang out and really, make them feel a little bit edgy and interesting, and I think that'd be a great thing for Freo. And that's some of that excites me, because I'm confident seeing those things in the next few months actually take shape.
Good. So that's actually Charles Landry kind of legacy there.
Yeah, and a combination of Charles Landry and David Enrich, who really have a lot of crossover in terms of how they think about public places.
Taking risks in public spaces.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great. And you saw that in the festival.
What I think was great about the festival this year was we took risks, and what we did, which I think we haven't done this a long time, we said we want it to be fresh and new, and we're not going to just do what we've always done. We're going to take some risks. And then it was about really us employing some good people who knew lots of good local people and are really well connected, and you could show the best of Freo, and then us, the council, the officers getting out of the way.
Good evening. Welcome to the 105th Fremantle Festival, the longest running festival in Australia. Initially, which is amazing, and it's a nice bit of trivia which Alex shared with me today, that the first Fremantle Festival was around the introduction of the electric light to the city. So that takes us back. But tonight's festival shines the light on the Fremantle community and the fantastic artistic community that we do have here, who call Fremantle home.
But what was great is the people they employed knew all the Fremantle artists, and they got them all involved. It didn't cost us any more because people want to volunteer their time and their energy and their creativity. And it was fantastic. We had hundreds of people just all getting together to volunteer and show off the best of Freo.
You've seen the video on the Tweed bike?
Yes, I watched Linda's one on that. It's fantastic. I actually went to the start of it because I ended up actually leaving that early because I wanted to go to David Enrich's talk at Notre Dame. So, And I actually did even dress up myself for the first little bit of it. It was great fun. And yeah, but that kind of thing, you know, where you have 200 people without helmets riding their bike. So,
What are you going to do over Christmas?
I'm going to I'm not going to actually take any time off totally until January. I'm just going to potter around and just catch up. But then I'm going to go for a long hike in Tasmania.
Oh, good.
10-day hike in the middle of January.